Hello, welcome. It's Friday, the 17th of February 2023, and we're right here on the newspaper review here on Thavtv. You're very much welcome to the program. My name is William Sabule, and today I am being joined by the beautiful Jennifer one more. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
And together we're going to review the headlines on the newspapers around Nigeria with you. By with you, I mean you can drop your comments and your reactions on the comment section. We'd love to know what you think about these headlines. And if you're seeing this video for the first time, well, why is it your first time? Do well to subscribe so that you stay connected. So every time we drop our videos here on the newspaper review, you get to see them first before every other person. So turn on the notification as you subscribe and you get to see these videos. All right, without wasting time, let's go straight to the headlines. And for today, we'll begin with the Sun newspaper. That is the Daily Sun newspaper for today, the 17th of February 2023. And on the Daily Sun here, we have as headline, Insecurity, Ohaneze to hold Peace Summit, invites Kanu Ekpa. You see the details of that story on page 28 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Other headlines here says, Presidency and for Peterobi, Governor Ortom speaking there. And details is on page 26 of the Daily Sun newspaper. As a big headline here on the Daily Sun, it says, Shock, anger greets Buhari's approval of old 200 naira notes. President says new monetary policy has minimized influence of money in politics. Kano governor accuses president of moving to destroy APC. Emefiele meets with bank heads, promises immediate circulation of 200 naira notes. Also, we see as headline here, Stop Crying Foul, release stashed naira to Nigerians, PDP tells APC leaders. And lastly, I'll take this headline still on the Daily Sun. It says UK cautions over spike in criminal activity at banks, ATMs, financial institutions, beef up security. Details is on page 8 of the Daily Sun newspaper. So Jennifer, I'm going to come to you. It's no longer news that we've been dealing with this cash swap issue. The new naira notes switching for the old one, and it has created a lot of reactions across board. Negative reactions, I must say, more of the negative reactions than positive ones. And just recently we've seen riots, creeping up in different parts of the country. But Harcourt is not even any different. Riots here and there, people so angry at the fact that the courts are saying one thing, other people, the federal government's body language, they're doing different things. The CBN governor seems to be on his own. So much is happening because of the new naira and policy, the old, so all of that is going on. I'd just like you to generally react to that. This this particular development is it's shocking, because the election is close. I mean, very much close. In fact, it's very close. And right now, the new naira policy is not giving Nigerians what they actually expected. If it had come earlier, we would have managed. But the whole thing came all of a sudden. And with what President Muhammad Buhari, with his speech that was on Thursday, yesterday, with the speech he gave on Wednesday, I think it was on Wednesday morning.
No, it was on Thursday morning.
Oh, Thursday morning.
Yes, right. It was on Thursday morning, the speech he gave, and he actually had to say that the banks should make sure that they release the old 200 naira notes to work in line with the 500 naira and the 1,000 naira, but that the old 500 naira note and the 1,000 naira note is no longer illegal tender, but the 200 naira note continues to be till April 10th. Looking at the reactions of people, and in my own reaction is, you would have just allowed the Supreme Court to come up with their own say, with their conclusion, because the case is still in court. The case they have with initially it was 3 states before it became 10. Kogi, Kano, Lagos State, even Cross River. I was surprised that Lagos State had to join them. So you would have allowed them to come up with their decision on February 22nd. You would have allowed that to happen so that we would know. And right now, the president came up with his own, I think, with his own feelings, because I don't know
what is informing that speech?
Yes, I don't
everything.
know what was behind that speech. Right now, Nigerians are suffering.
Yeah.
It's not easy. In fact, Nigerians are confused. Some people personally want to collect the old Naira notes and say, okay, there's still the Supreme Court is still having a case with the governors or with Nigerians. So right now we can make it. Meanwhile, some other people are saying, no. Since the president, the #1 man of all persons, can go against the Supreme Court, then
really.
Who am I?
Yeah.
Since they can go against, because he's supposed to wait. He is to wait. That's the way it is in law. In fact, if all of us are abreast, if we know what the Constitution says, you know, I'm not a law student, but I know that I'm somehow close to the Constitution. About page 231 or page 230 or thereabout. The president cannot say anything with the Supreme Court has the final say.
Yeah.
They have the legal pronunciation to legal pronouncement to anything that is happening.
Yeah.
So with this, there's a big confusion,
yes,
because the 200 Naira notes right now, I must confess, I haven't seen the 200 Naira note, the new one.
Although the CBN,
the old one is not in circulation.
But the CBN has promised to,
to release it.
Yes, move the 200 Naira note through the banks into the population and into circulation again between now and the 10th. So we are watching, but that hasn't happened yet because we haven't seen the 200 Naira notes yet in circulation. So that confusion is still there, and not just there. People are still trying to spend the old 500 Naira and the 1,000
and right now, because of what the president has said, people are actually doing away with their money.
Yeah.
They are doing away with the money at no cost. People that have 1,000 Naira note, the old one, that have been waiting for the Supreme Court to come up with a jurisdiction to say, okay, use it, don't use it, you can take them to the CBN. So Buhari said February 10th.
That's it. That was the last day.
Yes, that was the last day. So CBN's policy stand and is automatic. In that case, the 500 Naira and the 1,000 Naira right now is no longer in use. So
people are still in possession of that money.
Yes, just like I was telling my colleague that I was passing a particular place and they were announcing, if you have the 1,000 Naira, come and collect the 200 Naira. That's the old Naira note. So it's actually the whole thing is busy. People are trekking. You will see a person that has 1,000 Naira note, but the person is trekking.
Because they will not accept
it. They will not accept it.
So
to me, Mr. President should have just
left the whole matter.
The way it is. Because there are lots of Nigerians are suffering from a lot of things. Is it the fuel hike? It might not be everywhere in Nigeria, but in so many states in Nigeria, fuel is on a high. In fact, I don't want to talk about fuel.
Suddenly the money swap thing has overshadowed the suffering of most road users, because I don't want to even limit it to road users, because a lot of families, there are generators everywhere because of the bad power states where we have in the country. So a lot of Nigerians rely on petrol as one of its a very vital daily product.
Okay.
And so the price hike in petrol affects almost everybody, because there's also diesel price that is almost 1,000 Naira that people are also, there's also aviation fuel that has gone over the rooftop, and to worsen it up, this money matter that has caused so much problem. The riots, just this morning, we have an unconfirmed report of a young man being gunned down as a result of a protest that started somewhere around the My 3 area here in River State. Just this morning, people came out to protest the hardship of being unable to spend the money they have, and they cannot even deposit it, and all of that.
They can't access. The banks are closed. No business is working. People are trekking. Students are kicked out of school.
So
their parents cannot meet the demand of the schools because they have old Naira notes that they can't spend, and they are waiting on the Supreme Court to come up with a decision, and that should have been February 22nd, and then the president all of a sudden just came up. And
let's not even forget that before the president's speech, or before the Supreme Court's adjournment of their ruling, the CBN governor has also refused to counter the first instruction of February 10th within the banks. So on February 10th, banks automatically stopped collecting the old notes. They stopped it. And that too created this confusion amongst a lot of people, where they still have the old Naira notes, and they are like, okay, should we take it to the bank? But the Supreme Court said 15th. That's when they will revisit the case.
Yes, so and that gave the people some relief.
Saying, okay, we would probably work with whatever the Supreme Court will declare. And on the 15th, the Supreme Court now said, okay, we have adjourned the case to the 22nd, so let's hope. But while we're waiting for the day of hearing, the both notes should still be legal tenders.
Yes.
But then let's go back to the fact that the CBN governor never obeyed that court ruling, and so the instruction to the banks to continue to collect the old notes was never given. So they stopped collecting. So the money was just, going around between people spending this note, but the end product, and then they now came back to say on the 17th will be the last day we will receive these monies at the central bank. At the
central bank.
17th being today is the last day we're going to receive these monies. So as we speak now, at the end of today, close of business today, they will no longer receive any old 500 naira and 1,000 naira. I'm saying it that way as to what the president said, except for 200 naira. Now, the 200 naira too is nowhere.
It's nowhere.
People still don't have that. So you can see why people are getting really agitated. And instead of the president to come up with his speech to try to douse this tension, I just feel he has added more salt to injury. And so more reactions, I believe, will be seen.
And Mr. Bule, sorry, I just need to inform you that the CBN has also given a directive to how you can submit the old money.
Yes.
If you're in position, if you're in possession of any old money, they've given a directive to how you can return it to the CBN. So it's not like you can't go to the banks.
No, you can, but all of those directives you must follow within a space of 5 working days.
Yes,
yes. They said from 15th, from 10th to 17th. That's when you're expected to return all of this money. And as we speak now, if you go to the central bank headquarters here in River State, you will see a mammoth crowd out there that I know they will not be able to attend to today. So does it mean that most of those people that went there will go back home with their money and they have been unable to return it, and they won't be able to spend it on the streets? So those are some of the very confusing things that is going on. Plus the fact that the federal government is blatantly disobeying the ruling of the court. And so the CBN is also acting as though they are independent of anything the law has said. It doesn't mean anything to them. I said those are some of the things that is becoming very worrisome, because the highest court in the land, which is the Supreme Court, couldn't have passed a judgment or a ruling, and then it doesn't mean anything. It's almost like the CBN governor, that Supreme Court of yours is in another country, while me, the CBN governor, I'm in another country. So in this my country, this is what
happens in my country.
So it's funny that that is then he has the backing of the president too, because the president won't come out to give that sort of speech if he wasn't backing the actions of the CBN governor. So that's where the whole confusion is, and a lot of Nigerians are not finding this funny, because they are not daft. This is their money. Please hand it back to them. Let us know, and if for Christ's sake, to avoid chaos. I mean, we're just days away from the election. We don't need this level of distraction. This is too much of a distraction. Yes, it's too much for a time as this, that Nigerians need to make a very critical decision as to where we're moving to next. And then we're faced with this level of distraction, and then I don't know. It's really sad, but we are hoping that the federal government will do the right thing in line with the court ruling, and plus the CBN governor also falling in line, because I mean. All right, well, let's move on to our next paper, because I'm seeing a headline also relating to what we're talking about on our next paper, which is the Nigerian News Direct for today, the 17th of February 2023. And the headlines there says, Ogun, Abiodun promotes 7,518 teachers. Also, we see here, all right, we see here, contempt of Supreme Court, Gbajabiamila, Falana, Adegborua, orders blast Buhari, CBN, lament Buhari's broadcast, throws Nigerians into deeper confusion. As Emefiele orders banks to comply with Buhari's directives. Labour Party candidates accuses mighty men of prevailing on president's decision. Falana urges federal government to comply with order. Abia State joins suit challenging policy. All right, all the details of that you find on page 3 of Nigerian News Direct. We also see here 2023 INEC warns voters against election malpractice. All right, you see the same thing we were saying earlier. Contempt of Supreme Court, Gbajabiamila, Falana, Adegborua, orders blast Buhari, and they're so right on this one, because I don't know how to say that thing. Like the craze in the fact that just days before that there was a ruling, and then the next morning the president comes to make it look like what the court said has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. We know that this case is in court, but then what I'm saying now is final. Please work in line with what the CBN has asked you people to do, because this is going to create or give us security. This is going to also help us have a stronger monetary policy. Okay. Our economy is going to improve. But please ignore what the court said. What I'm going to say next is what you should abide to, and that is the 200 naira note, because I've seen that people are suffering a lot in this country. You know, I feel your pain. So you guys on the street. You guys on the street. You guys have been crying that this thing is too tough. But please, it's a time that we need to go through together. So it's tough, but then you know what? I'm going to give you guys back the 200 naira note. Please just use it for the next I think a month or two, and some days. Use it about that time, and then we'll take it back. But for now, take 200 naira. But you see that 500 naira and that 1,000 naira, you will never see it again. And you know that court said you should be using it, but if you use it, you're on your own. Wow, what the CBN said,
Mister.
That's what he has done.
You know,
I'm
not supposed to be laughing on this.
I'm not the one that said all this.
I should be frowning because Nigerians are suffering.
They are.
I should be frowning because the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in this country, let me say in Nigeria.
Yes, they are being made to look like a child's play. It's
being made to look like a child's play, and you're actually here telling me that the president and the CBN governor, whoever has said this in his state right now, the House of Reps, the leader of the House of Reps, is saying this is what content of court.
True, but do
you know what content of court means?
It means the president should be arrested. The same thing, you know, they've been on Bauer's neck. That's the EFCC chairman. That he also, he was told to bring this, and at a particular time he didn't do it. So that calls for his arrest. So right now, what are you expecting? That is why the House of Reps has said this is what content of court, because like I said earlier, it's only the court that has the legal that has the authority to make a pronouncement. It doesn't lie in the hand of the president. It's only the court that has that authority to make such pronouncement. And with what the #1 man has done, are you now telling the citizens of this country that in cases that looks like that, you can always go against the court? You know, it's funny because we've seen it happen before, but not in this magnitude. We've seen where governors,
appeal courts,
governors, appeal courts, and all of that small courts.
They court stay
yes, they always disobey the rulings and judgments from this. Even You know, this is not the first time the president has done this, though. Okay. Remember that the case of Nnamdi Kanu too. You know, it was ruled at some point that he should be released, and the president said no. Not even only Nnamdi Kanu, there was also the Shiite leader that he also disobeyed court judgment as to the release of these people. And now, you know, this one is even more painful because those business about the Shiite leader Nnamdi Kanu are one individual. This one is against the whole country. Like, he has come out to make all of Nigerians to look very funny. So
now we need to call on the barrister, the judges, the lawyers to ask them that. So there's no longer something like content efficacy, content infacy. Yeah. It exist any longer.
It is really sad and very unfortunate. All right, we are going to go on to other papers, but before we do that, we're going to take a short break. Once we come back, we will deal with our last paper for the day. You stay tuned.
Hey there. Are you looking to record your videos, do your voiceovers, and take your professional pictures? Look no further. With our state-of-the-art newsroom, photography, kitchen for our food content creators, and exclusive children's studio, we certainly can deliver the best studio experience. Our carefully designed studio space can bring your diverse creative content ideas to life. We aim to consistently serve value to our customers far and wide. Come, let Thavtv Media give life to your dreams. Thavtv Media, a slice of infotainment.
Welcome back from that very short break. We're still here on the newspaper review, and I'm with the beautiful Miss Jennifer one more. And we have been going through the headlines together for today, the 17th of February 2023. And we have our last paper to take today, and that is Thisdaynewpaper. Yes, normally we do Thisday from the beginning, but we left this one for the last because we just need to go through some political stories that have appeared here on this paper. But first, let's start with some of the headlines here, and we see this one as NNPC fixes March 21st to begin drilling of oil in Nasarawa State. That's a very good news. Finally, the North is about to begin drilling oil. We're moving on to other stories here. It's a Naira scarcity crisis. Channel your energy into voting out APC. Atiku tells Nigerians, and you find details of that on page 8 of the Thisdaynewpaper. Moving on, we see IG police to deploy 310,973 personnel for general elections. Details is on page 41 of Thisdaynewpaper. How G5 governors, other PDP leaders stand on presidential choice. Ortom, Mimiko, Duke, George, eyeing back Obi, or backs Obi as it were. Then Wike, Fayose lean towards Tinubu. Wow. Ogwai now backing Atiku. Makinde Ikpeazu still undecided. Wow. Wow, that's a very interesting analysis there. All right, then the main headline on Thisdaynewpaper says Buhari insists new cash policy will address insecurity, corruption. Mayfield appeals for support, meets bank executives, directs them to make old 200 naira notes available. Says temporary pains regrettable. Withdraw your suit against federal government. Katsina commissioner tells governors. Obaseki, Apex Bank POS operators meet. Strategize on cash disbursement across Edo. Lagos, Gbajabiamila, Wike fault disregard for Supreme Court order. El Rufai counters president, urges Kaduna residents to continue using old notes. See story on page 5 of Thisdaynewpaper. All right, Jenny, I think the story that caught my attention the most here on this day will be that of the G5 governors. I mean,
G5 governors, and whenever the G5 governors are mentioned, what just comes into my mind is Wike.
Yes, of course, he is their leader. And he's not been a dormant leader. He has been a very
active leader. He's doing well.
Vocal leader, and he has, seized every opportunity to voice out, how he feels about his dissatisfaction with the PDP, which is their, political party. Yes. And not just his dissatisfaction, he has gone ahead to throw a lot of shades against the party leadership. And of course, their presidential candidate. We've seen, chairman. Yes, we've seen the governor of Rivers State, that is Governor Nyesom Wike, in different forms and places where he expressed his disagreement with the leadership and the presidential candidate of the PDP, alongside his other counterparts from Abia, Benue, Oyo, and of course Enugu State. That's the G5 integrity group, or integrity governors, as it were. And right now, from the reports we are seeing, it's beginning to be very clear that they are all going their separate ways in terms of interest. So, but one thing is clear: most of them are still not supporting the current presidential candidate of the PDP, but they are beginning to lean towards other presidential candidates from other parties. But the G5
still stands.
The G5 is there. They haven't come out to say,
there's no disintegration yet.
Yes, we haven't seen anything like that. And from the last interview we saw of the governor of Rivers State, he's saying that they are still very much on course. Yes, but that whatever they are doing, it's just still clear that they are not going to give room for the presidential candidate of the PDP to come and make any kind of resolve anymore. So
they don't even want to yield to the call of the other party members to come together so that they can settle whatever is their problem.
It seems that they have all made their decision to, go separate ways. Look at what the report is saying, that Ortom, Mimiko, Duke, that's Governor Donald Duke of Cross River State, then George Ayim, they are now backing Peterobi, that is, and then Wike and Fayose is leaning towards Tinubu. And then let's go to when Tinubu visited River State too. That that visit raised a lot of speculations, which was one of the major speculation was that Wike is now a full-blown supporter of the presidential candidate. Was that during the presidential
campaign that was held in River State?
Yes, and that was on Wednesday here. Okay. And then, he received, Bola Ahmed Tinubu in his house.
Yes, Wike has been good at receiving the presidential candidate, just like he did to Peterobi.
So we shouldn't look at it in any other way.
No,
but then, some of the things he said, APC, let's even go there. Let's be clear that the APC and the PDP are the two major political parties that have been in existence for many years in this country. Yes. And both of them have held, the highest seat of the land, that's the presidency, for as long as we know democracy. Yes. So these parties have been at loggerheads every time, even currently. The presidential candidate of the PDP and that of the APC are not in agreement of any form. There's no way you will find the two of them anywhere shaking hands and laughing. They've been at each other's throat. So how is it that for a chieftain of the PDP will host that of the APC and be rubbing shoulder with him, telling him that I'm not against you, neither am I in support of you. You are a good man. You are the kind of person we need now.
No, Mr. Abili, I want to come in there.
All right.
I don't want it to feel like they are fighting.
You're not fighting.
I ain't fighting. This is politics.
Okay.
He ought to receive him.
Yes, of course.
And in fact, to receive him with his both hands, give him a warm
This is also a PDP state, Jennifer.
Further,
let's not forget that this is a PDP state. And it is not mandatory for the governor of this state to receive every political party that comes here to campaign. Because, okay, let's not also forget that.
So he could have said he's not available or what?
You don't need to say that. Okay. It has happened before when Atiku visited which state, also a PDP state, that the governor didn't appear.
Okay.
Nobody does, because it is normal. The governor could be in anywhere else. But this one, he stayed back to receive the man very well and said some very interesting thing that can make people feel that he's leaning towards the man. And let's not also forget that there have been a lot of unconfirmed reports.
Yes, from the River State governor's speech saying Tinubu is a good man, and this country will be very good in his hands.
So how do you expect people to interpret all of this kind of
that
things?
Seems like an endorsement anyway, but I can't say right now.
There has also been viral videos of some of Wike's strong supporters, dancing in the headgear or
cap, something
good. So and these are people, these are so much strong supporters of the governor that will not do such thing if the governor does not have some kind of romance with Asiwaju.
Politics is a game.
Oh yeah, so it's a game of interest.
Yeah.
So that's what we're saying. That I mean, personally, I'm wondering that how come the G5 or the integrity group came this far to end this way, where they have all gone. One would think that all of that, ginger, all of that force,
they are still together.
To what end?
The G5 are still together.
To what end?
It's not like they can't go for any aspirant. They can
Ortom says he's supporting Peterobi.
Yes, they can give their support to any presidential candidate that they wish to.
Rumored,
but not Atiku, not somebody from
okay, but then Governor Igwai has been rumored to have welcomed Atiku very well, and it's beginning to look like he's about to go back. Let's
just believe that that's a rumor anyway.
We are watching, and then the things that will give us the final, answer to most of our questions is the election.
It's the election.
We will see how it plays out. I feel that all of these things we are, saying could just be maybe baseless accusations, or maybe but then the elections will tell us what is true and what is not. Because Tinubu has also bragged in one of the reports that he will win Rivers State.
Yes, he did so.
This is a PDP state.
He needed to see the campaign. The campaign ground was so filled up.
But it wasn't like that for the APC until the presidential candidate of the APC came. In Rivers State, the APC has had different campaigns, but in a very, it wasn't as, yes, the force in the whole campaign thing has been really somewhat lukewarm. But then when the presidential candidate came, my brother, my sister, it was mad. It was really heavy. So these are some of the things that is making a lot of people say that the governor of Rivers State is working for the presidential candidate of the APC. So, but then we are waiting to see how all of that will play out too. And then we have our eyes also on the integrity governors. Let's see what comes out of all of their moves. All right, that's all the headlines we'll be taking. I want to thank you so much, Jenny, for joining me on the program.
And sorry, you said something about the INEC.
Oh yes, INEC. INEC is also
interested.
Yes, that report was on Nigerian Newsdirectnewpaper where it says INEC warns voters against election malpractice. Yes, it's so true. Election malpractice that has been witnessed in many elections that has been held in this country before now. But INEC on its own part has done so much to prevent that.
Stealing of ballot
Look at the money policy too. That is also working towards preventing that. So, but then we don't think we're going to be seeing stealing of ballot papers because ballot boxes because it will be useless to you because of the introduction of beavers and all of that. The biometric voters machine or so. Then also we are hoping that if this CBN monetary policy works, it will also prevent vote buying, which was the thing that featured in our Osun State election, and a lot of vote buying took place. But now CBN has come up with this monetary policy to curb that. So we're hoping to see how all of that play out. But then Nigerians too should consciously work towards avoiding
and that also goes out to the INEC personnel, because I think right now they're on their screening, they're in different places and different gatherings on their screening, doing their tests, learning about the beavers, how it functions and all that. But my advice, don't get there and turn to something else. We are working, don't just get there and turn to something else. Avoid bribery. No money is enough for you to gain your freedom. You don't need to be paid. Because if you're paid, the suffering continues.
That's just
you suffer, I suffer. We wait for the next 4 years, or it has actually become an 8 years thing.
So anybody that makes it there,
anyone that makes it there. Some people have forgotten that it's a 4 years something, because when it gets to the 4th year, the person tries to automatically return the person. So if anything you do right now to tamper the election will cause you harm.
That's so true.
I advise people not to go.
And then that also, we're also going to advise that you please get into the electioneering process, participate. We know that, you know, leading up to the election, plus this no money thing, the streets are beginning to look like, you know, there's violence everywhere. People are coming out to protest. But I strongly believe that the federal government is working towards killing all of this unrest that is coming up as a result of this money swap issue. But then the election is even more important than all of these distractions we've been experiencing. Please, let's focus on voting our next president, our next leader that is meant, or that we expect to get us out of this mess. And to do that, you need to come out and vote. And if you cannot come out because of some excuse, my dear, we might just be in the same position for another 8 years. So please come out. If you haven't made up your mind at this point in time, I wonder what's held you back. Please make up your mind as to the candidate you'll be voting on the 25th of this month, and come out and vote. Ensure you protect your vote by staying there after you have voted, so that they can count your votes and the number of votes sent out before you leave. All right, but ensure that you stay away from trouble. Stay away from trouble. Avoid trouble on that day. Don't make trouble. Don't allow trouble to start anywhere you are too. All right, the next time I come your way again, my name is William Sabule, and this has been the newspaper review here on Thavtv. See you next time.